Well, here's yet another engine off of my to-do shelf. This one has been sat on there for about 5 years. I think I got this one from eBay around about 2019. This is an American IND-X Model 200. Now, not a lot is known about IND-X model steam engines, although they're not particularly rare. They do come up for sale on eBay occasionally, and you'll find lots of pictures of them if you Google it. But they're a bit of an unusual engine, and there's not a lot known about them. They were made in Los Angeles between 1921 and 1941, so it's a fairly old engine. But other than that, there's very little I can find out about these. Now, I literally pulled this one off the shelf today and had a look at it, and all I've done is I've given it a light wiping over. I've cleaned up some of the parts, the few brass bits that are on it, I've given them a bit of a polish, and I've cleaned up, give the base a wipe down, and same with the boiler. Now, these are an interesting construction. I'll stop it there. The base is cast aluminium, as far as I can tell, and the firebox is, I think, tin plate, bent up tin plate. Now, the boiler is nickel plated, and this is why I've not done a deep clean on this, because as you can see, it's quite corroded in places. There's a little bit of rust, surface rust on it and so forth. But the problem is, if you go too strongly on the cleaning front and attempt to get rid of the rust, you will also take off the nickel plate. So basically it's just had a gentle wipe over. I've not attempted to remove the rust, and yeah, I'm going to leave it exactly like that. The engine frame and the cylinder is all one casting, and I believe that's also an aluminium alloy of some description, as is the flywheel. It's the gold colour is paint. It's been painted gold, but I believe it is aluminium. It's got very few brass bits on it, really. The fittings for the sight glass are brass. The regulator is brass, and there's a brass bolt in there. And that's really all there is in the way of brass on it, which is, again, quite unusual. Now, the only thing I've added is the chimney. The safety valve is here. This is also brass. And let's stop it. The chimney simply sits over the top of the safety valve. Very similar to the sort of construction you get on Empire model steam engines. In fact, it's very reminiscent. Certainly the engine frame and that's very reminiscent of an Empire. Now, this little chimney here, I'd literally gone over to my metal store looking for some aluminium tube to make a chimney for it, and that one was I'd obviously made that for something else and not used it, so I thought, well, it fits, perfect fit. So it's probably a bit short, probably should be a little bit longer than that, but it's only a dummy chimney. It doesn't actually do anything on the IND-X model, but yeah, I think it looks okay. So we're pretty much ready to steam it. I've checked the element. The element is a bit low. It's between 25 and 27 ohms, which is a bit on the low side. But then I have had American model steam engines, electrically heated ones, that have had 450 watt heaters, and that's also going to give you a low ohm reading on the meter. So I think it's okay. I shall use one of my big heavy duty step down transformers for this. The element certainly isn't shorting out to any of the rest of it, so it's certainly safe to put power on it. So but God knows how much water that boiler holds. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's like 8 inches long, 3 inches in diameter. Massive boiler on the thing. In fact, the whole thing is big. There's my hand. It's this huge engine. And another thing that's unusual about this is on model steam engines, even large ones, you normally have a fairly small piston and they have a fairly short stroke. This thing's got a 3/4 inch bore, and the stroke is 1.25 inches, which is pretty much on the large size for a small model steam engine. So, okay, let's get on and see if we can get this thing running. Okay, we've got water in the boiler. The power's on, and it is actually heating up. I don't know if you can hear that. Just out of interest, I don't know whether anyone spotted my deliberate mistake when I put it back together after cleaning in the first part of the video. I had the regulator here in this hole here, in this part of the mounting bracket for the engine frame, and of course this point here, this is where the feed of steam goes into the cylinder. Well, it goes into the piston valve obviously first, so it's completely pointless putting the regulator in there because it's not doing anything. Fortunately I did spot that. So yes, well, hopefully once it builds up some steam, we'll get this thing going. Well, we've got some steam bleeding out of the safety valve, so hopefully yeah, look at that. As I said, I haven't done anything to this. Cleaned it, oiled it, put some steam oil in the cylinder and in the piston valve, and it's really quiet. Oh, I'm well pleased with that. It's so nice to have an engine that doesn't knock. A lot of old engines knock simply because they're worn and there's slop where the conrod attaches to the crank pin, and when the other end of the conrod, the small end, attaches to the piston, and there's slop in the drive shaft, the crankshaft. That's why they knock. This one, not knocking. Basically all you can hear is the steam exhaust coming out the piston valve. Absolutely lovely, amazing. Now, this is obviously not quite as old as the lovely Whedon that I showed you recently. But bear in mind, of course, the Whedon went out of production in 1918 and this one started production in 1921. So if this was one of the first ones, first IND-X's, this could be almost as old as the Whedon if the Whedon was one of the last ones made. So, but isn't that lovely? Really smooth. Part of the reason, of course, is that, like I said, it's got a 3/4 inch bore and a 1 1/4 inch stroke. So that's large for a model steam engine. So. See if we can slow it down a bit. Oh, I just love it when you can get a steam engine to run slowly. Isn't that lovely? There's nothing wrong with this. This engine is superb. Amazing, absolutely amazing. It's just so quiet. Well, all I can hear, as I said, is the exhaust steam coming out of the piston valve. What a superb engine. And in another world first, it would appear that we have a working sight glass on a retro Steamtech engine that doesn't leak. I can't see any drops from that or weeps at all. Amazing. All I did was clean it up. I didn't touch the nuts or anything on the fittings. So yeah, incredible. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the IND-X Model 200. Made sometime between 1921 and 1941. What a lovely engine. And before I forget, this engine is slip eccentric, so it should run equally as well in the opposite direction. So let's stop it, spin it the other way, and there we go. Just as nicely that way as it does the other way. Stop it again. And there we go. Back to running forwards. As I said, this is just a superb engine. Really nice regulator, will run right down to next to nothing. Right, I'll turn the power off. Now, power's now off. See how long it runs. Well, I wish I'd got this down off the shelf sooner. We're still showing a little bit of level in the sight glass for water, so we're okay. Right, that's the regulator wide open now, so it should start to slow down. And I love the fact that we are getting a little weep from the safety valve, and then we are getting a little steam coming out of the chimney, which is great. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, well, there you go. What a lovely engine. American IND-X Model 200. Made sometime between 1921 and 1941. Other than that, I don't know anything about it at all. Very interesting construction, very interesting engine. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers.